Welcome back to another DIY, and today I'm going to show you guys how to make these really awesome macrame t-shirts. When I first started out on YouTube, I would reconstruct my t-shirts, and I thought, let's bring a little bit of that back today. And we're gonna go ahead and just grab our t-shirts and start cutting it up.
Okay, so let's start with the t-shirt and try to pick one that is a little bit loose on you. So your next best tool for this DIY is a nice pair of scissors. Now I'm gonna go ahead and fold my t-shirt in half, and I'm going to cut off the sleeve so that it looks a little bit like a halter top. With my t-shirt still in half, I'm going to cut open the sides of the t-shirt. With my shirt still in half, I'm going to cut right up the middle of the shirt all the way to the ribbing of the neckline. Keeping it in half, I go ahead and cut out 1/2-inch strips, and depending on how large your t-shirt is, it's going to be anywhere from 9 to 15 strips. For me, it's 9 strips, and when you get to the end, just cut off the excess fabric. Now I'm going to open up the shirt and divide the strips out equally from the front and the back. So for me, that's 18 strips in the front and 18 strips in the back. We're going to go ahead and start with the front, and I'm going to pull on all of the strands to roll out the edges so that it doesn't look so raw. Next, I divide out the strips equally on each side. And I'm going to start with the 2 strands in the middle, and I just tie that into a knot. Then grabbing the next 2 strands, I'm going to tie those into a knot, and then the next 2 into a knot, and I keep doing it until I run out of strands on either side of the shirt. Now starting back in the middle, I go ahead and split those 2 strands, and then I tie it to the adjacent strand on one side. Then I take the other middle strand and I tie it to the other adjacent strand. I keep tying until I end up with an odd strand on each side of the top. Going back to the middle again, I start tying again, keeping in mind that I should create a diamond pattern every single time I tie 2 strands together. So now on this row, you should not end up with a leftover strand on each side of the top. It should even out. Going back to the middle, I'm going to keep tying until I create that diamond pattern on each side. But on this row, you're going to get that extra odd strand left over on each side. Okay, so I'm just going to flip this to the back, and I'm going to do the same thing on the back where I start from the middle and I knot outwards on both sides of the shirt. Keep in mind that on the second row of knotting, you'll get the odd strand on each side of the shirt. On the third row of knotting, you won't have that odd string. And then on the fourth row, you will end with that odd string left over on each side. Okay, so here's a really cool trick. You're going to take the odd string on one side of the back and tie it to the odd string on the other side of the front. This creates the armhole for your crop top without actually having to sew the front and the back together. So moving on to the other side, you're going to do the same thing. Take the one odd string from the back and tie it to the one odd string to the front, and it will create the same hole for the arm. At this point, the front and the back is symmetrical with knots, so you can stop here or keep knotting completely around the top until you're satisfied with the look. Keep in mind that every time you tie 2 strands together, it should create a diamond shape in the middle so it doesn't mess up with the pattern of the top. And what I did was I decided to just make 2 of these, and I just layer it over a spaghetti strap. I think if you take your time and make the knots closer together or even looser, it can be a pretty awesome swimsuit cover-up.
That was quite a bit of tying and knotting. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to tag me on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook so I can see your creations. Also, make sure you like the video down below, subscribe to my channel, and remember to check back next week for another DIY. I know I haven't been doing a lot of DIYs lately, and I'm so happy to get my fingers moving again. And thank you guys so much for watching, and rock on Slowies. Bye!
Hey guys, welcome to my new apartment in Hong Kong. It's one thing to move from like an apartment to a home. It's a completely different ball game when you're moving from one country to another. The first 2 weeks when I was here, I was extremely homesick. I was so homesick that I absolutely could not find anything positive about Hong